Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By 10 Forward number 17. As with a lot of our 10 forwards, we did this one on kind of a whim, so we didn't warn you.
But the timing was what was important, Chris.
It was, because what's coming tomorrow, season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Woo! I'm jazzed.
And so we decided, hey, let's talk about season 1.
Yeah, that only happened a year ago, but everyone should have been catching up.
Yeah, it's a refresher via us if you didn't do it yourself.
Only 8 episodes.
Yeah, we are the only guide you need.
I just think it's funny for us to have done a 10 forward about a biopic of John DeLorean. Just weird.
So what's funny is last summer, 2 came out at once.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
There really were 2 biopics of John Z. DeLorean came out at the same fucking time.
Explain who that is.
The man that created the DeLorean.
Yeah, he's a car engineer.
Oh, I
designer.
get it. God damn it. God damn you, Jake.
The man, DeLorean.
God
I
damn
like
it.
it.
But who are your guides? Well, I'm Chris.
I'm Ames.
I'm Caitlin.
And I, Jake. And
This is the way.
There we go. Someone had to say it.
I
I've
wanted to,
spoken.
but I'm glad that. Damn it! She got both of them.
Aha, quick.
Yes.
You can just say what the blurrg says.
Ah.
I must self-destruct.
No.
Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, DeLorean.
Eh.
The last 2 episodes were like the saddest things in the world.
Oh my god, like I don't know where to start with talking about this, but like the second to last episode, number 7, was the absolute worst for me because so many blurrgs died
Yep.
horribly in front of you, and I was traumatized.
It was pretty awful.
So I did have an idea for once in my life. And I thought,
For the first time ever.
an interesting thing for, like, because I kind of thought we'd talk about how we all went into this. Because,
by watching television.
well, like, for example, I, for one, had no intention of watching this show originally.
Why not?
Because I think, like, basically...
You hate Boba Fett?
Well, not Boba Fett so much as the idea of, like, what Boba Fett has become in the Star Wars fandom. And I feel like all the worst Star Wars fans love Boba Fett. Like, the kind of Star Wars fans that harassed Kelly Marie Tran off off of,
Twitter?
not Twitter, the other ones,
Facebook?
Instagram.
I don't know.
Instagram or whatever. Like, I feel like they probably all
Tinder.
have, like, Boba Fett avatars, you know?
TikTok.
Grinder.
Thank you, Jake.
Friendster.
And so, like, and I think, like, this came out
MySpace.
before... Okay, this came out before Last Jedi, but, like, the trailers had already come out,
Usenet.
and it had already become, like, painfully clear that Disney had decided, at least for Last Jedi, to give in to the horrible fanboys. And just, like, so I was like, okay, so it's everyone's... Like, it's every douchebag's favorite, if not Boba himself, the Mandalorians. And Disney seems to be giving into assholes. This is probably going to be a terrible show. I was expecting it just to be, like, the Boba Fett series in all but name. And that, like, the Mandalorian himself was just going to be this, like, completely flat, Marty Stew, can do no wrong character.
Marty
that, like,
Stew.
if it was a woman, the fanboys would be all pissed off. I was like, no, I don't need any of this. Fuck this. Fuck Star Wars. Fuck Disney.
I can confirm.
And then...
Fuck J.J. Abrams, just for fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
definitely.
fucking Baby Yoda gifs started popping up. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And that's when I was like, this might be worth watching if only. And then I heard about the the interview with Herzog, keep the puppet, you cowards, and all that. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll check this out. And then I did, and I'm glad I did, because it was not at all what I was expecting.
It might be my favorite Star Wars.
Yeah, did anyone else go in, like when you're going into this, what did everyone else sort of...
I just couldn't wait to see the baby Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, I was also pretty down on Star Wars after
the sequel series,
whatever the one that was really bad was.
All of them?
And
just kidding, I liked them. But...
and you know me, I'm a Star Wars skeptic, right? I have to be convinced to like Star Wars things.
But
I don't know. I was curious about this
because,
so I do like Boba Fett.
We have pictures of you as a little baby Yoda. Nope, baby Yoda. Damn it! I fucked that up already. I would love to have pictures of Jake as baby Yoda, as a baby Boba Fett, baby Yoda Fett.
Wait, really?
Yes. I don't know if there's any pictures of me, but I did have a Boba Fett costume at one point, so there probably is.
Oh my god, find them, please.
So yeah, I do like Boba Fett.
Fuck boy. Just kidding.
No, I mean, I look at you look at the costume, and it's so intriguing as a costume, as they say, they're not a race, they're a creed. So there could be anything under that head, and like what their mythos is, like it gets very interesting in this series. Like I'm already sold.
But I gotta say, it should have been made more clear that this was not. I mean, obviously you figure it out pretty quickly in this show. But just like from the marketing, I assumed it was Boba Fett. Like I assumed it's a show about Boba Fett because he looks exactly like Boba Fett.
Well, maybe they did that on purpose.
I didn't realize so I know in Star Wars Episode 2, The Phantom Clones, that it's a different guy that has Boba Fett's costume, but he's Boba Fett's dad.
Jango Fett.
And that and then he gets killed, decapitated, I believe.
Don't spoil it for Caitlin. She hasn't seen the movie.
Little Boba Fett,
I never will.
Little Boba Fett gets inherits the costume. So I didn't know that there were more of these guys. I just thought it was Jango Fett's costume that Boba Fett got. And so I wish it was more clear.
Well, that's the other thing is when they first created him, it was just this guy has a fun costume. The design was created before, he was initially created for the Star Wars Holiday Special, because he appears in an animated segment.
That's terrible news.
Then he was in Empire, obviously. Actually, I think the first appearance of Boba Fett in any capacity was, of all things, some kind of fair. Like one of those big regional fairs.
It's kind of a marketing draw. Look what's coming up.
Yeah, and it was a not quite finished version of the costume. I think he was all white, which if you look at the early Ralph McQuarrie sketches, it was the same basic design, but he was in all white. And yeah, so they that was the first appearance anywhere. Then his first sort of major appearance was in the special, and then he was in Empire Strikes Back. But yes, at that point he was just some guy. It could have been, just his own unique armor. It would be, over time in the expanded universe, they would establish the idea of the Mandalorians and that there's more than just him. And this basic shape of armor is, sort of a thing.
Cobbled together by what he found over the years.
Oh, no, sorry. The idea that there's sort of a cultural Mandalorian design that more than just he has.
I have space. I'm sorry.
What's interesting to me is, there's all these religious sort of cultural overtones in the show here. But I don't know that... I mean, I know for sure because we see Jango Fett takes his helmet off all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So apparently there's just different... Maybe he's a reform Mandalorian or something. I don't know.
So
he's a Catholic Mandalorian.
I'm
just
sorry,
like
episode
Worf is
2
a Catholic
isn't canon.
Klingon.
That's true.
So
but,
the thing is, there's actually, I guess, a lot of Mandalorian lore was established in Clone Wars and Rebels. And I've seen
that's a cartoon. Those are cartoons.
Yes, and actually, one of the guys that worked on this with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, was the showrunner on both of those. So there is sort of a through line. But yeah, it's yeah, I'm not sure, because I've only seen like maybe half of Clone Wars and none of Rebels. But at least in what of Clone Wars I've seen, the Mandalorians, by the time of the Clone Wars, had sort of abandoned their warrior history. And you find out there's sort of a cell of extremist traditionalists who have like readopted the armor and are trying to overthrow the government and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, this isn't the Clone Wars, though.
No, but that will factor in, because that was the first appearance of that weird black lightsaber.
What I like, I think, is that you don't really need to know any of that stuff to still kind of get this series.
Yeah, no, it stands very well on its own.
Like, honestly, I feel like of all the Star Warses we've seen, this one's level of fan wank is incredibly low.
Well, unless you consider literally Baby Yoda being...
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's
the thing.
I disagree about that point.
But the thing is, it's so cute that everyone just loses their mind whenever he's on screen that, like, you're not thinking, like, oh, this is a fan wank thing because it's a Baby Yoda. You're thinking, oh my god, this fucking puppet is so goddamn cute.
Yeah, no, I die. I die several times per series, because I'm just like...
Yeah, like, you could definitely have only seen the original 3 movies and go into this and know your way around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think you get lost.
I think it's important to sort of have an understanding of the Empire versus the, like, Rebels.
I don't know. I think going in entirely cold, you'll still mostly get it.
Well, I don't know, right? I can't say, because I didn't.
That's true.
But I
don't know many people like
it
that.
wouldn't take you very long to figure out,
Empire bad.
These are bad guys.
Yeah, no, of course.
And this creature is magic.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were like little fan wanky things like
scattered throughout, yeah.
Yeah, like the one that strangely bothered me the most, or I don't know, the most, but the one that just was like, really? Was how on his ship he had all those like
the carbon chamber?
The carbon guys. And I was just like, wait a minute. When they did this to Han Solo, that was like a one-off thing. Like they didn't even know it was going to work. It was, and they even say, "Oh, this is like an industrial process. This isn't something you use to, trap people."
This is set 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So maybe
it was so successful that Boba Fett got on the phone like, "Hey, Mandalorian guys, go get yourself one of these."
Well, conversely, most of his stuff was probably dead or alive. So
dead or alive, you're coming with me.
But yeah, no, he revolutionized bounty hunting in that moment.
I guess so.
Yeah, it
because I was just like, really?
He captured Horatio Sands. It's kind of great.
He did. This show does have like an absurd number of comedians and comedic actors in cameo roles. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and most of them are quite good.
Yeah.
I fucking like the episode. Like, I'm actually very shocked that the 6th episode, The Prisoner, the one that takes place rescuing that prisoner dude, is the lowest rated.
Really?
Which surprises me because I think it's my favorite.
Like, aside from Bill Burr's accent, it's a good episode.
Whoa.
What's wrong with Bill Burr's accent?
He's from Boston, and it's obvious, but he's from Planet Boston.
That's what I mean. Like, because
there's lots of people from England in space.
Here's the problem: is like and I know Star Trek is also different. Let me try this again. I know Star Trek is also guilty of their alien worlds being monocultures. But Star Wars takes it to whole other levels.
Well, we don't know that. We've never met his planet. We just know
but here's the thing. This is the way Star Wars works. The whole planet is Bill Burr now.
How do we know that?
We don't.
Because Chris has spoken.
Well, no, because that is just... that. I mean, in reality, a lot of that has been undone by Disney, happily. But, like, at some point in the old expanded universe, and I think I've said this before, is like, everything that made Han Solo unique stopped being unique. That's just how all Corellians are. All Corellians don't trust odds. All Corellians are maverick cowboys. Like they take the monoculture thing to a whole new level in Star Wars fandom. It's terrible. So yeah, no, he is from Planet Southie. There are Dunkin' Donuts everywhere.
How much clam chowder can you get?
So much.
They're just Dunkin's.
You can't get any clam chowder. You can only get clam chowder.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I was actually blown away that at one point he says, "What about your sister?" And it's like, wow, he hit the R.
But
But
That
yeah,
was
that's
like the
great.
31st take.
You know
Yeah.
what's great in that episode is who's Zero, Jake?
Oh, that's Richard Iowade.
Yeah,
the
I
IT
love
crowd.
him.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah, this
he's
episode
awesome.
got extra points when Jake recognized that voice and mentioned that it's Moss from the IT crowd, and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect. It's so perfect.
If only that droid could have had his sweet style.
I remember the first time we watched that episode, I spent so much being like, I know that voice. It's driving me fucking nuts. And then we got to the end credits, and I was like, that is so obvious in retrospect.
No,
Yeah,
he was
we have
delightful.
just recently watched that series, so like his
Yeah.
voice being as distinctive as it is was like, oh.
Yeah, I like
See,
that a lot.
I'm surprised it's low rated though, because like joking aside, I thought I love that basically at the end it turns into a horror movie,
yes,
but we're
yes, it goes from
actually
heist to horror.
but we're on the side of the monster.
Yeah, it's Alien, but we're rooting for the xenomorph.
I'm
I have a
usually
feeling-
rooting for the xenomorph.
Well, fair enough. You're right. It's not a perfect comparison.
This episode may have also had the least Baby Yoda.
Yes,
but that must be it.
and
That's
that
why
might
it's
be
low.
why it's slowly rated.
probably.
There's the scene of him hiding from Zero.
Yeah,
And that's
It's
pretty
so
much all
cute.
Baby Yoda we get.
yeah, pretty much. Oh, and the Devonian, the big devil looking fucker.
Yeah,
That's
Clancy
Clancy
Brown.
Brown, the
Yeah, from
enemy
Shawshank.
from the original Highlander. Yeah, he's a guard in Shawshank. He's Mr. Krabs, but he's also going to be in an episode of Enterprise.
aha, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also looked up who Shion was, and that's Natalia Tena, who was in Game of Thrones.
Wow.
She was Osha.
Oh, good, keeping us safe from workplace accidents.
Yeah, did you
and-
say she was also in Harry Potter too?
Yeah. And
Oh, who
she
was she?
very, very clearly banged the fuck out of Mando at some point.
But he left the helmet on.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, no,
And I'm
that's that.
for
Like for all, like, there's a ton. Like, obviously, like I said, there's a shitload of comedians, just a shitload of people in general. But I mean,
The casting is great.
yeah, it's an absurd amount of like cameos and guest stars. And I actually only found this out recently. The voice of the Mandalorian with the like machine gun, the kind of the tank guy who questions why Mando is working
Yeah.
for the Imp. The voice is Jon Favreau,
It
the
is.
like show creator, which I
Yeah.
missed hearing the first time.
Yeah, it's actually very cool. Like basically, I believe all of the directors, or maybe almost all of the directors of season 1, do have cameos in the show.
Yeah,
That's
actually, I think 2 of the X-wing pilots at the
3.
end of.
All 3.
Oh, she also okay. Because there's the woman in there as well as the showrunner on Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that is Deborah Chow.
Okay, I didn't realize she also directed on this.
Yeah, the director pool, like, because Jon Favreau meant to direct but didn't have time. He was doing a different thing at the time, and I have already forgotten what it was. So they collected like an absolutely diverse group of directors to get like as many perspectives on this show as possible.
Mm.
And they all, like, almost all of them, except for Bryce Howard, who is Ron Howard's daughter. Who
Yeah.
directed one, but I don't believe she cameos. But everybody else has
I didn't
a cameo.
see her in it. She's pretty recognizable.
Yeah.
And Taika Waititi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is also IG-11,
Yes.
Yep.
which is pretty nice to see.
Yep.
No, good group. I think they all did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the one that Jake doesn't like, he'll tell us about now.
Which one's that?
Oh, you fucking hate Cara Dune, don't you?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the character's fine. I just don't care for the actress. I didn't.
Wait,
Why?
which one's Cara Dune?
She's the
muscle girl.
the tough chick.
Hey, don't fuck with her. She's a fucking empress among
An
ants.
empress.
I love
Mm.
her. And
I
besides,
don't
like,
know. I mean, I like the character. I just didn't think it was well cast.
Well, she's like Terry Farrell.
Disagree.
She's still learning to act. She
well,
started
yeah,
in.
she's an MMA fighter, for Christ's
Yeah.
sakes. In a cage match.
I am
Yes.
told, compared to some of her earlier roles, she is vastly improved.
Well, she was
Yeah.
in Deadpool, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Oh.
but she barely said anything. So
Well,
She
probably
didn't
for the
distract
best, you
me
know?
at all. Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
yeah,
buy
she's-
it
and
at
she's
all.
definitely
either.
like she's got the physique for that character.
Yeah, and that's more
Mhm.
important.
As being a badass.
It's like I recently looked up just to make sure I was getting this fact right. I think Jake watched Miracle with me before about the
Yeah.
1980 Olympics.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen, it's about the hockey team, the American hockey team that won the 1980 Olympics entirely out of fucking nowhere.
Wow.
And the movie, they made a movie of it a couple years ago, and the movie's pretty good. I'm a big hockey fan, so I'm incredibly biased. But what they did was they mostly cast hockey players instead of actors because, like, being able to recreate these, like, legendary hockey moments on the ice is more important than any of the acting scenes. So most of the actors aren't actors. They just said, they basically said, it's going to be easier to teach hockey players to act than actors to play hockey.
Yeah.
And especially, like, at such an advanced level.
Yeah.
How did the U.S. win? What, was Canada out sick that year?
They just bested Russia when Russia was, like, the powerhouse at the time.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a big, like, Cold War PR thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Herb Brooks put together a team that wasn't full of people that you'd expect, but people who worked well together instead of just a whole bunch of, like,
Superstars.
superstars.
It all sort of, there's this moment in the final match against Russia where they're down, and then, you know, they're kind of feeling like it's not going to work, and then they're like, wait a minute, ducks fly together.
Quack, quack.
And then they do this flying V move, and they manage to score on the Russian goalie. And
It's also a great movie.
Does that really happen in the Mighty Ducks?
Yes.
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
Decent. I like it. But I was also, you know, just in terms of Gina Carano, who,
that's
you know,
the actress that
that's
did.
the actress who plays Cara Dune.
Got it.
Like, it is way more important that character do those stunts than, say, and it's not the biggest part of it for, like, line wise. Like, she does more doing lots of stunts than she does scene work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, when she's being badass, it's great. When she starts saying lines, she starts saying lines.
Never bothered me.
Nah, I don't know.
Not a line bothered me.
But I'm also a little in love with her, so
Yeah, she's
I'm-
got a great
I'm
look
biased.
too. Her look is great.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
fantastic. And it was also just nice to see him have, like, a foil who was, like, this big, tough, badass woman. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just thought that was nice.
Pedro Pascal in this is also so cool. Like looking at this and seeing, like, this is all, like, it's a mask and puppet show. You have relatively few characters who have actual faces in this show.
Yeah,
and
that's
yet
true.
everyone is still emoting like crazy and you're following the journey, and that's awesome.
So I know we talked about this, you know, off screen before, but did you find anything in your research about how much of the Mandalorian is actually Pedro Pascal versus like
Stunt doubles?
body doubles? Yeah.
I don't know how much. I do know that there were definitely times when Pedro Pascal wasn't available and his stunt actors came out during those times, but I didn't do a ton of research. I basically just read Wikipedia for the character names.
Plus,
'Cause,
don't
you know,
don't ruin the magic for me.
No, it's true, but I just, you know, it occurred to me that, like, really he could have done most of this from a recording studio. You know, there's one shot in the entire series of his face where it actually needs to be Pedro Pascal. But other than that, he could have done it, just voiced the character pretty much.
I don't know how much, but, you know, he's still a delight. And even his voicing, like, he reminds me an awful lot of, who does The Witcher? Henry
Cavill.
Cavill? He's got such a very flat delivery, and yet you're still following along. Like, I liked him an awful lot.
Yeah, it's like, it's not like, there's still emotion in there. It's not completely monotone. It's a weird balance to strike, but he manages it.
Yeah, you never hear him, because you can't really see. You never hear him, like, getting very heated. You never
Right.
see him, like, yelling, "No!" or whatever else.
was-
Classic.
He finds out Baby Yoda died of a broken heart.
Oh.
After giving birth to his twin children.
Oh God.
Awkward.
Kiff and Kermit.
I mean, we don't know. I don't know if they checked Baby Yoda.
That's true.
Oh my god, what if it's a girl?
Could be a girl.
Oh man, the fandom would flip its shit.
Oh, I hope it's a girl. Well, actually, conversely, we don't really know that much about that species, right? Like, maybe there is only one gender. Maybe they asexually reproduce.
No,
Maybe-
there's a Yaddle.
Yeah,
I'm
Chris
sorry,
was
yaddle?
saying, Chris
What
said
the
this
fuck
before.
is a yaddle?
There's
Is
another
a
Yoda
female
that we
Yoda.
see,
Where?
Episode 1.
When did...
but that's not canon. So
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, no, she's on the council.
I don't
Yeah, I
remember that at
spotted her.
all, and I saw that fucking movie like 5 times in theaters. What a stupid asshole kid I was.
She also proves that they can have hair.
or she's wearing a wig. We
Well, I
don't
would
know.
hope so. How else would you know that it was a girl Yoda?
That's true.
Well,
That's the
and-
only
and-
way you can tell.
And in episode 1,
Well, just like with
the
dwarves, you know,
really-
the women have thicker beards.
the not very good Yoda puppet did have like more hair than
Yeah, remember he had fucking
Empire Yoda.
He had like mutton chops, like 70s style mutton chops.
Well, he almost had like dark brown hair. It was really that. Oh, that
That was a bad puppet.
I don't know how they made that puppet so badly.
No,
Which
who knows?
one?
The Yoda puppet in episode 1.
Didn't they CG him the rest of the time?
Yeah, because the puppet was so bad in episode 1.
Yeah, but the fucking CG is terrible.
Yeah,
Like, the puppet
CG
in this was
worse.
great.
So
So
the
much
thing was
better.
like they forgot how to make puppets.
They really did.
And then they're like, well, we can just use CG, but it's like, well, no, but the technology to do that right is still like 10 years
Oh,
away.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only
So
CG
bad.
in this that I didn't care for, there were a couple times when IG-11 was like walking or jumping on the bike, and I was like, oh,
It was a little jank.
I
Yeah.
couldn't tell.
Yeah, you
It
see, the
might have
thing
been
is, though,
stop
like,
motion.
Yeah, but I kind of like that.
It looked janky though compared
It
to
looked
the rest.
janky. It looked very janky, but to me it looked almost like they were going for a stop motion look.
Mm.
You know, like they wanted it to look like stop motion because it was so janky.
That's
It-
weird.
it-
It looked like a
and that's-
mistake.
That's the thing is like, that's a design that was sort of just a throwaway background character in a movie, and now it's like, fuck, we have to figure out how this thing moves.
Wait, we've seen IG-11 before?
No, we've seen a different IG unit. IG-88 is one of the bounty hunters Vader hires in Empire Strikes Back. So there's Boba Fett, there's the guy with the weird like bandages on his head,
There's the
a
zero-looking
Gorn,
thing, right?
there's a zero-looking
Did you say
thing.
a Gorn?
There's a lizard guy.
It's not
and there's IG-88, who I think doesn't. I don't think moves at all.
Smart.
But that's the original.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
its head
okay.
is actually. I mean, I'm sure now they just make their own heads, but the head of the original IG unit was actually salvaged from. It's like the compression unit from a Rolls-Royce jet engine.
Okay.
I want to point something out really quick.
Do it.
When we were talking about this episode, Chris was like, we don't really have a Jake for Star Wars. And I'm like, no, you're the Jake of Star Wars.
The
Yeah.
Jake
What are you
for-
fucking talking
Yeah.
about? And so he's like, no, not really. And he just pulls this out of his ass.
Yep.
What are you talking about?
I mean, in comparison
Well,
of like the amount of knowledge, like I know a lot of random crap, but
Hey, Chris,
Jake- yes.
what's Darth Maul's species?
oh fuck, Zabrak.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're the Jake
Well-
of Star Wars.
Okay, if you want to get technical,
I don't.
No.
Please don't.
it gets more complicated.
Let's
But
not. Please.
The
not.
short version I just mean is like Jake probably knows like more about Star Trek than I do about Star Wars.
Okay, but
Disagree.
here's the thing though also. There's vastly more Star Trek than there is Star Wars, so even if his pile of facts is 100 feet high and yours is only 40, it's still a lot considering how little there really is. I mean, I know they
Yes.
both have an
Listen,
ass
this
load
is not
of
a
books.
contest for who's the,
It's not.
the bigger nerd.
Also, my
I
thing
know it
is
isn't,
like
but I'm just
all
saying.
nerds.
He's like, no, but let me tell
Well,
you about
also,
when we saw IG-88
a lot
as
of the stuff-
standstill with all this other bullshit and Return of the Empire.
A lot of the stuff I know also is no longer canon because it's shit from the 90s.
So here's the thing. So when you said IG-88, there was another. This is me doing my Star Wars pile of knowledge. There was another droid bounty hunter called 8T88, who was a character in Star Wars Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
Oh, I missed a lot of those games because they were like PC
Yeah.
only.
It was a full motion. Well, the game itself wasn't full motion, but there were full motion cutscenes.
Oh,
I
How
feel
did
like
they
you
walk
told us
around?
that. Wasn't like Brian Blessed in that or something?
I
Am I making
don't think
shit
Brian.
up?
No, Brian Blessed.
Oh, is
wasn't
that
in it.
Dune? I'm thinking of Dune.
that
ignore
wasn't
me.
that wasn't Brian Blessed. That was John Rhys Davies.
Whatever. I don't know what the fuck
But
I'm
there
talking about.
were characters in that. I don't think any of the actors were notable though.
Yeah, I
They
think
walk
actually.
around as jankily as IG-11 does.
Yeah, well, it was like that was early CG from like
Yeah.
the mid '90s.
They actually
There's an
ported
interest-
those to modern consoles recently.
All right, let's
Oh,
stop
really?
nerding out about this because I want to talk about briefly so Mando hates droids and he hates IG-11 specifically, which is interesting. And I kept thinking send in Picard. Picard will tell you about droid rights.
Well, it makes sense considering droids massacred his family.
Yeah. He almost got killed by one of those small head things at the beginning. You know, at least we see that.
Yeah, dude, it looks like a fucking Goomba from the Mario movie. This big, broad, humongous character with a dumb little head.
Yeah, they really could have spiced that scene up by you just hear in the background a bunch of Roger, Roger.
That's what's fascinating about this is what this show managed to do in terms of they took battle droids, which in the prequels are comedy fodder to just get mowed down by Jedi.
Gun fodder.
And showed when they're not up against Jedi, they're actually a threat. And yeah, if you were just some civilian and a bunch of these things just landed and started uncaringly mowing you down, they're actually kind of creepy. And then in friggin' the Seven Samurai episode,
Paradise or Sanctuary? Or...
No,
yeah, that was the one where we met
Cara Dune, yeah. Sanctuary. They took the ATST, one of the biggest jokes in Star Wars because it was repeatedly murdered by teddy bears, and made it feel threatening, which is that in and of itself is astounding.
Although, I don't know why they didn't just string up a rope at the edge of the forest. They could have tripped it.
Well, because then their actual fighters will come and cut the rope.
I don't know. If the freaking teddy bears could figure out how to destroy that thing, it's shocking to me that these townspeople never figured it out.
Oh, they're fucking mud farmers. What do they know? But yeah, I remember that. They were oh no, ATST. And I was not that. But then they actually managed to make it feel like a threat, and that was impressive.
Well, they also gave it red glowing eyes.
That was
makes anything
slightly
scary.
over-egging the pudding.
Yeah,
maybe.
and this is also a community of specifically not fighters. One person has ever fired a gun before. They had to have a very dumb.
Good at it. They show.
Yeah, they had to have a very dumb training montage, which was dumb.
Yeah.
You know what irritated me about that episode? One thing about it that irritated me. So at the end, when they're leaving the village, that woman, the villager,
Omera,
gives Cara Dune this look when she interacts with the Mandalorian. I was wait a minute, are they implying that there's a jealousy here?
Well, I kind of felt that by the end of the series that Cara Dune is kind of into him.
Yeah, but I thought that he was much better with the villager lady.
I think he's much better with Baby Yoda.
Well, yes, obviously.
And their twin babies.
Yeah, he doesn't need a love interest.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad there mostly isn't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that with Cara Dune.
I would hope not.
It would kind of undermine. I mean, not that
both of them.
Not but not that big badass kick dick ladies can't have love interests, but
it doesn't have to be the Mandalorian. It can be someone else.
That's true.
Yeah, it could be Carl Weathers.
Ooh, Carl Weathers was fun.
Did they give that character a name ever?
Yes, his name. They said it pretty early. His name is Grief Karga.
Grief Cargo Pants.
Good grief. Fucking Star Wars names.
I re-looked him up recently. Was it today or yesterday? Because I was I know he's Dylan from Dylan, You Son of a Bitch, but who else is he?
I think it was yesterday.
And I'd forgotten that he was Apollo Creed. He's
from Rocky.
Carl Weathers?
Yeah.
Oh, he plays Carl Weathers in Arrested Development.
I heard. Yeah, I read that. And he's also in Happy Gilmore. He's Chubbs, the mentor.
Yeah.
Chubbs.
So that's, we had eat pieces of shit for breakfast in Star Trek, and we've got Chubbs in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, here's another possible, and I'm sure Chris can explain why this is a thing, but the Jawas. So we see those in the first Star Wars movie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones that capture CP3O and the other one and sell them to Luke's dad.
Uncle.
Uncle.
Owen.
Uncle Dad. But then we also see them in the same type of land crawler thing.
Yeah.
On a totally different planet.
Yep. And there's a few on Navarro.
So these guys get around.
Apparently. I am not going to lie. Until this series, I had thought they were strictly Tatooinean as well, so I have nothing.
Okay. Yeah, all right, because I was like, are they just putting these guys in here because there are things that we'll know?
I think so.
And then for a minute I was like, oh, is this supposed to be that planet? But I was sure it wasn't, so.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, wait, it's Tatooine? But no, it was not. They eventually go to Tatooine.
Yeah, that was a little wanky, too, having Jake Cannavale's character sitting at Han Solo's booth.
Was it the same cantina?
It was absolutely the same cantina, 100%.
Yeah,
Although, remember, in that movie, they didn't serve droids there.
And now a droid runs it.
Had to wait outside. But in this movie, it's run by droids.
Did you know who the droid was?
No, who?
Mark Hamill.
Wait, really?
That's cool.
Yeah, he was the bartender. It was very cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was 100% the same place as the first movie.
Well, business is down. It was dead in there.
Well, like I say, it looks like that whole town kind of went to shit.
That's true.
Here's my big complaint about the Jawa. I think they really suffered from us seeing them up close because it made it super obvious that just a man's head and a black see-through fabric thing.
What did you think they were?
No, I
a
just
void?
Well, in the original movies, you never get to see anything but their eyes. You don't really see the shape of their faces or heads.
Well, they obviously have one.
Of course they have one.
I didn't notice this.
I just mean
you preferred not seeing it?
Yeah, it looked like a mistake because I also just don't like what kind of creature is running around in the desert with see-through polyester covering their whole body. I don't know. I just thought it took me out of it. It was just too unbelievable. I don't know. I just thought it was weird because we never really got to see them that way, and I just didn't like it. That's all. Didn't say it was a good point. Just said I didn't like it.
But yeah, I think that episode too. That was a key thing because that's what the second episode with the Jawas, where they're sort of a major
because they want an egg.
Yeah, the fucking egg.
Oh God.
Like what was good about that, because like I said, one of my concerns going in had been that like he'd be just too flawless, and in that episode he fucks up.
Gets his ass handed to him by a monster.
Yeah, and even the Jawas kind of fuck him up. But I was like, okay, so he's not gonna be like fucking
Marty
Superman
Steele.
here. Yeah, he's gonna occasionally cock up. And it's like this is good. This is a good thing. He's a human. If
there's one thing we know about Star Wars, it's that little things can kick big things' asses.
That is true.
Readily.
Yeah, never underestimate the little things, especially
like
the baby Yodas.
Although, man, his freaking rifle that just vaporizes things.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Damn.
Only when it had particular shots in it, though. It looked like.
Yeah.
He was loading it with some kind of
has to be
special
set to
shell.
Kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
God, every time Baby Yoda is on, Jake and I just started likening him to the White Cat. Because the White Cat is basically a Baby Yoda, because he eats trash, he would entirely crash your spaceship, and he would kill Cara Dune.
Yeah, I had forgotten about the little force choke scene.
Yeah.
He's a little psychopath.
Well, he thought she was hurting his daddy.
He doesn't, he doesn't understand his powers yet, it seems like, because he's just a toddler or something, so... How long until he's more aware of what he is?
That is a good question.
Hopefully we never get to that point in this series. I just want him to be a little puppet boy forever.
Or he suddenly, season 3, he goes through a growth spurt, gets a, floppy black haircut. He's emo teen Yoda.
No.
How long does the rebellious adolescent phase last for baby Yodas?
Too long.
Yeah, no idea.
How long can you rebel?
All we know about the species is that they can live to about 900-ish.
Is that what
we don't know. I mean, we don't know if that's the limit. We know they can live at least 900.
Yeah, I should have said that. Because Yoda mentions at one point that he's 900 years old in Jedi.
Yeah. And like, why did Yoda die? Did he just die, or was there a reason?
Broken heart?
I think he just died of old.
Okay, well then maybe about 900 then.
Well, of course, the thing is, you gotta figure he's living in a horrible swamp planet. Like, if he'd had access to medical care and stuff like that, he could have kept going. Who knows? So yeah, we don't really know what the upper limit of his species could be with proper attention.
I feel like he probably knows some herbs and poultices.
But he doesn't have Bacta.
So what do we think is the nature of Baby Yoda? Is it just another of Yoda's species, or is it a clone of regular Yoda.
I think he's special in some way. Otherwise, Dr. I think Pershing, or whatever his name was.
The guy from
Dr. Pershing wouldn't have cared so much.
Maybe
well,
they're just
originally
not all...
wanted to kill it and extract something from it. I'm guessing it was the mitochondrias that they need.
Midichlorians.
So there is a fan theory that his uniform bears a patch that has the symbol of the Kamino cloners on it.
Pershing's does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they think
those
that
are
maybe
the guys that Jango Fett hung out with.
Yeah, that made the clone army.
Yeah.
So they're thinking maybe the idea was to try to clone Baby Yoda.
Clone army of Baby Yodas. Oh my god. Yes.
Or is it?
I want it.
I don't know. My tinfoil hat theory is that Baby Yoda is already a clone of Yoda because they mention that he's 50 years old, right? So that might put him, around the time that they were doing the cloning stuff, right? Timeline wise.
From what I've read, he predates. So, I mean, that's the thing is Kamino was already there and all that. So, I mean, they've been cloners for God knows how long. The Republic wouldn't actually get involved with them until sometime after Episode 1, before Episode 2.
Well, that we know of, right?
Right, it's all a bit up in the air.
But then also, we know that there were all these clones of, can't remember his name, the Emperor.
Palpatine?
There. Yeah, Palpatine, right? Because they saw that in the last movie.
Oh, there were a bunch of Snopes, right? There were Snopes everywhere?
Well, there were.
Wasn't it implied that...
Yeah, I think they implied he was a clone as well, though. I think, like many things from that film, they had to later confirm it in, like, a fucking interview because that movie was so badly written. God, that movie was trash.
But either way, we see that, like, the Empire, they love clones. They're cloning everybody. So I wouldn't be surprised, if they
just put a
did
couple
a
of
Yoda
Yodas
clone
on
thinking,
ice.
we'll make an evil Yoda.
Well, they did have Nick Nolte say, though, that he thought he wasn't engineered.
Well, engineered versus cloned, though, right? Like, engineered, I think, was implying that
genetic
he was, like,
mutation and shit.
Yeah, like manipulated, like a French bulldog or something.
Well, if only we could go back and ask Queel.
Oh, I am glad we didn't have to watch him die. Like we had to watch the blurrgs die. I was like, good. He's just cut in half on the ground. It's fine. I didn't have to see it at least.
Truthfully, when they're showing those shots of him like getting closer and closer to the ship, I kind of almost expected him to like have a heart attack, kind of, because I feel like
blurrg to pass out.
I don't know about that, but I just feel like he was like breathing really hard and looked like, I don't know, like I was like, is he just gonna go into cardiac arrest? Because he seems pretty stressed out. Then that fucking asshole punches Yoda through the bag, and I was so angry. It's like, how would you like me to put you in a bag and punch you?
Okay, did you guys like or roll your eyes at the Imperial Guards, or what are they fucking called? The Stormtrooper, yeah, the Stormtroopers' inability to shoot a can.
Oh, hilarious. Loved it.
I'm torn. Like, they've now kind of made it canon that they're bad shots, and I'm not sure if that's funny or dumb, because there's also the moment in The Prisoner where they're like, oh yeah, he's an Imperial sharpshooter. And Mando's like, that doesn't say much. And he's all like, I wasn't a Stormtrooper, smartass.
Yeah, I think that was a good joke. I feel like making it like so explicit may have been a little much, but I was still giggling at it.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. In a series, you got to figure Star Wars is and has always basically been a kid's show. But this series is pretty dark.
Yeah.
And although I think like
Rogue One,
I think a kid could enjoy watching this, and especially with Baby Yoda would be excited about it. But
yeah,
there weren't a lot of moments of just levity.
True.
Especially in that episode.
It's also it's a bit complex for kids watching.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I mean,
well,
it's
not Discovery or anything where you need to be taking notes to remember what character is which. Here's my question, because this is the one thing that I was like, what the hell is actually happening? How do those tracker devices work?
Oh yeah,
is everyone chipped?
Those are a bit too magical for me.
Yeah,
I guess I know it's like, Star Wars, but
presumably they just, like, know DNA or something?
I have
Yeah,
no
maybe.
idea.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about the tracking fobs. They don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it also
Plus,
wasn't
like, do you
clear.
just have to fly aimlessly until the fucking thing starts going boop? And, like, I don't know.
It didn't really give an indication that I could tell of like where the person was, just that you were close to them.
I
It
could
was
only
like
assume
a little
that.
LED on it.
Yeah, I could only assume that maybe Mando's helmet had something, but that doesn't explain how other creatures who have one of these tracking fobs can find their target.
Maybe it's like a divining rod or something, and it like draws your hand in the direction where the bad guy is.
It's actually it's part organic. It's like there's a tiny Jedi inside.
Ooh.
Yep, there you go.
A baby Yoda.
A tadpole Yoda.
Aw.
Oh my god, a little tadpole, but with big stupid ears and cute little teethies.
But they start out as a tadpole, then they get the ears, then the little mouth.
Yeah, I think the fact that his eyes are A, enormous, and B,
Yeah.
almost all pupil definitely also help, because, you know, if you look at Yoda's puppet, he's definitely got, like, so much white around the eyes
Yeah.
that I feel like if this critter had as much white of the eye, it wouldn't have been as cute.
No, definitely.
No.
One scene that I don't know, I thought was a little excessive was in the finale when they're going down the river of lava.
I'm hoping that's a new Disney ride, by the way.
Yes. And
With an R2 gondolier.
IG-11 is like, I will sacrifice myself. And then there's like this 5-minute back and forth where he's like, no, I will sacrifice myself. And the Mandalorian's like, but I love you.
I like
I will
droids
sacrifice
now.
myself. I must do it.
I
It is my
likened that
programming.
to-
But we need your help.
You know how Kirk does so much talking computers to death?
Mm.
This was Mando talking a computer to not
To life.
death.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just like I get that they were trying to drive home the point that look, he's finally changed his opinion on droids.
Or at least this one.
Listen, he doesn't have many friends.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like
All
he
of
could
his
have,
friends are in this boat.
he
Yeah.
could have cut most of that discussion and just had IG-11 like hand over the jetpack, say, I can't hold this for you anymore. Hand over Baby Yoda saying, I can't hold this anymore. And just get in the lava and start walking. And then they could be like, what are you doing?
Mm.
That
Yeah,
might
it
have had more impact.
It really like drew everything to a screeching halt to have that extended back and forth.
Let us explain how important this sacrifice will be. And we're going to continue explaining it.
And I don't understand. So the head Mandalorian, the
Forger?
the blacksmith, is like, oh, you won't be able to use this jetpack yet until you got to train on it before you
You're
can
going to do
fly
some
it.
Rocketeering.
But he's fucking great at it. Right out of
He's not
straight
that
on.
great
No,
at it.
little
He can go
wobbly.
up.
He
Yeah.
landed on a starship
He crashed
in flight.
into a starship.
Yeah,
But
no,
also,
that was-
didn't he, like, hook onto it
He
and,
did.
like, pull himself up? Because,
I
like,
guess.
that wasn't...
Yeah, no, that was definitely some sloppy flying.
Yeah, he did happen to survive the landing very well, so
But
that
here's
was
the good thing,
skill.
though, right? Remember how the Rocketeer needed a helmet? He's already got the helmet.
Hey.
He's all set.
It needs the wing, though.
Did I? So remember I was
Yeah,
mentioning
spoiler.
that I had a Boba Fett costume?
Yeah.
Well, the helmet for that Boba Fett costume was converted from my helmet from my Rocketeer costume.
Oh, there we go.
Fun fact.
Very nice.
So
Oh,
there you
yeah, I
go.
feel
It all
like
ties together.
Maybe you told us that.
We showed you pictures of that. It's a little
we
little Jake Rocketeer. It's very
Oh, yeah,
we
I
have the
definitely remember
Rocketeer
those
costume.
pictures. They were adorable.
But yeah, I love the armor. I was saying to Kate, I was like, God, she's such a fun, enigmatic character. I can't wait till they ruin it by giving way too much backstory in the books and comics.
well, don't read the books and comics.
Yeah.
I
and
won't.
also, like, we don't, like, she didn't get killed, right?
No.
As far as we know, she's alive,
We
yeah.
see her beating everybody up.
Yeah,
and then
great fight scene. It was
Oh, it's
great.
That scene
amazing.
was awesome.
She fucks them up. It's
She just,
so
like,
good.
breaking necks with a hammer.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing I really like about season 1, and the thing that I'm getting worried about for season 2. Because I love that season 1 is very focused and
Yeah.
very concise.
Yeah.
Like it's a simple story. The 3 middle episodes could be cut because they're kind of side quests, but they're still kind of important to see what the character is like.
Yeah, it's about establishing who he is.
Yeah, but it's very focused. Whilst I've read that with season 2, they're going to broaden it a bit, and I think they said they're going to take some inspiration from Game of Thrones and kind of have different storylines happening.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, they're going to make it a mess. I'm kind of worried.
Oh. I don't like
Well,
that.
they did a great job here, so let's, let them be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
True.
I'm hoping.
Me too. It's going to be hard to top, though. I mean, it was a very, very good series,
You said
in my opinion.
that the Bill Burr episode was the lowest ranked, but I don't know about you guys, but I really felt that the one on Tatooine was the weakest.
That one I find pretty dull.
Oh, the
gunslinger?
gunslinger or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, fuck him.
Like, I mean, I think we enjoyed the mechanic lady and her pit droids.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
she's
did.
Oh, yeah.
good.
Amy
I
Sedaris.
want to be.
She's
I wanted to
awesome.
be her. She's like an engineer, mechanic, crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
Like, those are her crazy cats. This is droids.
And she goes crazy when she sees the baby. She's like, oh my God, I want you.
Because
She's
everyone
all
does.
of us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
But aside from her, the rest of the episode, it's just, yeah.
I would have liked more because I thought that the assassin that they were trying to capture was pretty cool.
Yeah, Ming-Na Wen.
I would have liked to see more of her charter, but of
Nope.
course.
But we
Whoops.
killed her.
Whoopsies.
Also, I feel like they killed her a little easily, considering like Mando was like, good luck.
Well, because she was shackled and thought she had won over the ugly Franco brother. I know he's not a Franco, but he looks like an ugly Franco to me.
No, but
You said his name. It's Carnival or something?
Jake Cannavale, I think is.
What's
But
he from?
he's
Sort of well known, isn't it?
I don't know what he's from. I mean, I've seen him in other things, but his father is way more famous.
Oh,
that?
okay.
His father is basically anytime you need a mobster,
Oh.
you call. I can't remember his first name. I'm
Saul?
blanking on his first name.
Better call Saul. No.
I can't
Chris is
remember.
looking it up for you.
Okay, but yeah, and I happen to know.
Oh, Bobby
that-
Cannavale.
Bobby, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, go fuck. Yeah, he's like one of the, 5 go-to mobsters in Hollywood.
Yeah, and he's great. I mean, he was in Boardwalk Empire. I think he was in The
Oh,
Sopranos.
yes, I see him now. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure he was in The Sopranos.
He's great, and I just remember.
Oh, he's in Mr.
He-
Robot.
Oh yeah, he was. Yep. Just hearing that his son was that character, and that's why I
Nice.
remembered that.
But yeah, no, I can remember when we rewatched it, I was like, oh, yeah, not much really happens in this one. And it really doesn't. You know why it's so high rated, Jake? Because the enigmatic, who was that at the end, which everyone is assuming is Boba Fett.
Really?
Oh, is that who they?
Everyone was thinking that?
I totally forgot about that because there was never any payoff.
Right, because they think they thought, because we were all expecting there to be some kind of payoff. There never was, so the assumption on the internet has been the payoff will come in season 2, and everyone's assuming it's Boba Fett.
Yeah, I happen to know that the actor who plays Boba Fett is in season 2.
Well, there we go.
Also, Timothy Oliphant and Katie Sackhoff,
Tim Oliphant.
Right, I
which
heard
I'm
he'd
getting
been
excited
cast.
about.
Bro,
I really hope they don't botch season 2.
How old is the actor that played Boba Fett gonna be?
He is currently 59.
Wait, what?
So I assume it's the guy that played Django in episode 2.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah, because
right.
the guy that I think the
forgot
guy
that,
that
Oh, yeah,
I
the guy who
forgot
played
that his
Django.
son was actually his clone.
Yeah, I think the
That's
guy
right.
that played Boba Fett originally, like the guy that originally wore, I want to say he passed away a few years ago, actually.
That's sad.
And let me guess,
sorry.
they swapped out his voice with that.
They
with
did.
Yep.
Did they really? That's fucking
Yeah.
stupid. God,
I mean, he's
hate
only
it.
got like 2 lines probably in the original trilogy.
Yeah, but still.
Most
But,
of them are.
They
"Stop
needed
eating
him
me."
to have a Kiwi accent because wait, why would he have a Kiwi accent considering he wasn't raised by Django Fett for more than a week?
That is a good question. Also, I lied. He's still alive. His name is Jeremy Bullock. And,
Bullock. That's Timmy
Tim
Oliphant's
Oliphant,
character.
yeah. On Deadwood, I was thinking the same thing. Hang die, cocksucker.
see, I don't know why I thought he'd passed away. But nope, he's alive and well.
Yeah, good for him.
But,
Yay for being alive.
Good job. I'm gonna change
Ha,
topics.
He's no
ha,
use to be
ha,
dead.
ha. Staying alive.
Yes.
and who
You know
knows,
what
maybe,
is-
maybe it wasn't, but that's just the fan assumption right now.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
you were saying, Games?
Yeah, you know what is absolutely fascinating about this series, and because I don't know how much they're doing this in Hollywood right now, is they're using that big sound stage with a 360-degree video wall to do their shooting.
Oh,
What is, I've never heard of this. What is
You've
this?
never heard
Oh,
it?
you know
Holy
what? They
shit, I've seen
posted about
footage.
this in Star Trek shitposting recently.
Yeah.
I missed it.
footage
Wait,
of it
like
is
as opposed
really
to like a
cool.
green screen?
Yeah, as opposed to bringing actors to sets, basically.
Well, they haven't been doing that since the original, or since the prequels, right?
Well, they take this big 360-degree video wall, which they have just filmed the backgrounds for, and then they put it up on the screens while they film, and it's so cool.
So basically, this is great. We've gone from backdrops to sets to green screen to backdrops again, but now they're video instead of
digital
painted.
backdrop.
But you know what's really cool about that, though, is I'm assuming that there's they're computer controlled, and that they're probably tracking the camera.
They are,
so that you can do parallax and shit.
Exactly,
That's
it's so
amazing.
neat. Like
It
find
is.
a video.
That's
We'll
actually
find a
really
video
cool.
and post it because it's fascinating.
God, can you imagine if they can get that cheap enough for use in like theatrical productions?
Well,
Well,
each
but it's-
individual audience member would need to be parallax tracked.
Oh no, I'm not for parallax,
Oh.
but just for in general. Like, imagine having that much flexibility with your backdrops.
Well, they did. There was a production in Boston probably 10 years ago now,
Really?
almost,
Wow.
of Peter Pan that was done, like, where the whole scene, where all the scenery was, like,
Video
CG
wall?
projections.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Like, I remember that production.
Wasn't that
I didn't know that
outside
was.
or something?
It was
making
in a
that up?
big tent at Government Center.
Yeah. I remember
Okay,
that.
I didn't realize that was their thing. I knew I remember it being in town, but I didn't realize that was their kind of shtick.
That's right.
Yeah.
We knew one of their house managers,
Oh, cool.
or I guess box office attendants, or
I think he was the box office manager.
yeah, that sounds right.
But no, I had not heard about this. That sounds really cool. Like,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
I think it costs a fortune to do.
I would imagine.
I mean, is it more expensive than bringing actors on location and filming that?
On
I assumed
on
you
location
meant
into
that.
space, onto other planets.
Yeah, actually, that was like
pro-
one of the things I said when Gideon, and we'll talk about Gideon because I am so excited about Gideon. When Mando is on top of Gideon's spacey ship, I'm like, just go to space. He'll suffocate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Stop
we don't
trying
know.
to
He
get
could
him off.
have oxygen in that helmet. It could be
I
pressurized.
don't think he does. It is not airtight.
Before we get to Moff Gideon, though, we haven't talked at all about Werner Herzog, really.
Oh, he's great too.
I was saying to Caitlin, he is like just the right level of off-putting and weird for that role.
Hmm.
I would like to see the baby.
He's a little Anthony Hopkins.
Huh.
Mm.
I don't think he acts as well as Anthony Hopkins.
Like
but I
you
see
know,
what
he's
you
going
mean.
to you expect he's going to eat that
eat
thing.
the baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you could tell he's not an actor.
Yeah, I mean, he has acted before, but he is primarily a director.
Yeah, and like in the same way that Cara Dune kind of took me out of it from time to time, his readings also took me out of it from time to time. That
See-
said, he more than makes up for it just by the way his voice works.
Yeah, like I said, for me, I was never taken out of it. I was just like, there's this weird, like, off-putting menace of, like, you just feel like any minute he might suddenly stop being calm and just fuck somebody up. And he never does. But you're always waiting for it. And also, you know, from certainly the American perspective, when you've got a guy with a thick German accent talking about why did you resist our expansion? We improve things. You're just like, oh, this is somehow worse than if it was any other accent.
Well, speaking, going back to the Bill Burr and the monoculture, he's from Nazi Planet.
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah, he's from Planet Germany.
Yep. We're
No,
perfect
it's not
spot
Planet
went.
Germany. It's Planet Nazi.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's
You're
the
right.
Nazi planet.
I hope we
Spock
see.
lives there. It's great.
I tell you, one day we're gonna see Planet Boston. Everything's just gonna be orange and that weird sort of purpley pink.
Purpley pink? Oh, the Dunkin'.
The Dunkin' Donuts look. Yeah.
Just Dunkin'.
Yeah.
They're not Dunkin' Donuts anymore.
That's right. It's
It's
done.
just Dunkin'.
But yeah, no, he was in his big fucking Imperial medallion. That was great.
Mm.
You gotta wonder though, who are these guys that decided, well, the Empire's fallen to shit. I think I'll stick around. And their armor's gotten nasty, and their equipment looks kind of shitty.
Well,
Like,
probably true believers, you know?
I don't know. You didn't
Some
really
kind
get.
of weird political zealots.
I guess, but you don't get that impression from Sudeikis and the other guy.
Well, then maybe the pay is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is their other option?
Yeah, and I'm assuming that these guys are gonna somehow be connected to what was it called, the First Order,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they start sprinkling in like.
Mm.
right? Because that, like, the timeline here. So this you mentioned that this stuff is supposedly 5 years after the Empire Strikes Back.
Jedi.
Yeah, Jedi. But those two are close together.
Okay, yeah, right. And the sequel movie, Force Awakens, that's supposed to be like 30 years ish after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to have been like real time.
Yeah.
So-
However long Harrison Ford has aged.
Yes. So presumably, it takes 25 years to go from where we are now in this series to the Empire is basically just as strong as it ever was, if not stronger. You know, they have a planet-sized Death Star now.
Yeah.
So apparently they're acting like, oh, the Empire's down and out, but I'm gonna guess that they're not really that down and out.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Gideon shows up and his stormtroopers are well equipped. He's got death troopers. He's got a big fuck off machine gun. Like, yeah, no, like there's a line of continuity, and I think it is important that they have established already, because you're right. Like, the Empire is clearly very resurgent, even if it rebrands slightly in 25 years. And they're already kind of establishing that no one's really taking the New Republic terribly seriously.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that because, I don't know, I think that there was an assumption that after, and I always thought this was stupid, that after the Return of the Jedi, they kill the Emperor, they kill Darth Vader, and the idea is that, okay, Empire's just gone now, and now the rebels are going to start a New Republic, and they're going to run everything like a utopia.
And then Moff Gideon rolls in.
But that's just such an unrealistic thing, right? Like, so it's not like all the Imperials everywhere would suddenly, drop their weapons and,
take off
I
their
guess
helmets.
we're done.
Yeah, no, like
It would
some
there'd
might,
just be a
but not all
power
of them.
vacuum, and people like Moff Gideon, and I'm sure there's other warring factions, other, because we see, so Moff, right? That's what Peter Cushing was.
Yeah,
He
they're
was
like
a Moff.
Yeah,
They're big shots.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, I mean, although Peter Cushing's character blew up,
Yes.
but I'm sure there's other people of that same level that are now like, oh, Emperor's dead? I guess I'm the Emperor now.
Yeah. Giancarlo Esposito is so good at that kind of character. Have we ever seen him?
Talk about an actor that's like, we need a sinister guy to show up.
He's so great.
And be the unseen hand that is running things and just being sinister.
Have we ever seen Esposito play a demonstrably good guy?
No.
He's
and
always
I kind of feel
like
bad
the
because
morally
it's like,
grayest.
It's
He's
never
gonna be-
no. He's morally he's like there's no gray. He's just a
He
bad
does
guy.
what he needs to do.
He was the Fring in Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
which is an evil guy. He was
Evil
the
but brilliant.
guy in that horrible show Revolution.
Oh, I forgot. Don't
where
remind
he
me
was
Revolution exists. What's wrong with you?
he was just a bad guy, and
He's gonna
a
be
bad
the
guy
villain in
this.
Far Cry 6.
Yeah, I mean he did such a good job on Breaking Bad. I think that was his breaking out role. I don't remember him in anything before that, but he did such a good job in there that he basically has earned himself a career for life playing that character over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and we'll keep buying it.
Yeah.
This actually sort of neatly rolls into one of my big problems with the series, which is that even though they seem to have done a good job of like diversifying cast and like they're definitely not guilty of just having like two black characters anymore. Two of our three like sort of main antagonist people are people of color or black or, whatnot.
And they can't play villains? Why?
No, they can. Of course they can. It's just that so often you wind up with people who are not white playing villains. It's just kind of a thing.
Do you mean like Carl Weathers' character?
Yeah.
But he turns out to be a good guy in the end.
Yeah,
Although
but
he was going to double cross
just
him.
like Lando, he sold out his friends
That's true.
pretty much at the drop of a hat.
That's a fair critique.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, being fair to both of them, they both had the Empire show up on their doorstep and put a gun to their head.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I think, I applaud them for their efforts in diversifying casting. It occurred to me on this second watch through that I was like a little bit bummed out that like again, 2 of our 3 main antagonists were people of color.
Yeah, I wouldn't. See, that's the thing. I wouldn't call Carl Weathers' character an antagonist. Like he's doing a job, and he's actually a fairly well-rounded character because you see him make decisions. You don't just see him be evil. You see him understanding what the scenario is and being like, oh, maybe Baby Yoda is worth keeping alive. Interesting.
So I looked up Giancarlo Esposito because this is pretty much the first thing I've ever seen him in, I think.
You're kidding me.
And I could be wrong, but I was like, okay, surely I can find something where maybe he was a good guy. I was like, oh, he was in Malcolm X. Maybe he was a friend of... Nope, he's the guy that killed him. But I found a thing. In 1982, he appeared as Mickey in 5 episodes of Sesame Street. So maybe he was a good guy there.
Nope, the baddest one in Sesame Street.
Man, so he was working as far back as 1982.
Yep.
He's not a
and
young
he really
man.
didn't have his breakout role until the late aughts. But good for him for sticking with it for so many years.
Well, breakout role to you. You said you just don't
That's
recognize
true.
him. I'm
That's
sure he's
true,
been
but
in
I feel
lots.
like, I mean, if I haven't heard of him, how big could he have been?
He was apparently Big Bird's camp counselor.
Huh.
So a bad
Wow.
guy.
Giancarlo Esposito is a Danish-born, half-Italian, half-African-American character actor. What are you doing in the Danelands? But yeah, no, he's delightful in this. He just shows up and is like, murders the fuck out of the guy you thought was the big bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Shows up with his...
And then we get the lines from the 2 bike troopers out in the desert
Oh,
being
yeah.
like, oh, he just killed someone for talking out of turn.
Okay.
He just killed 5 more people for not having their shoes tied.
Yikes.
Got his foldy wing TIE fighter. He's got a fucking lightsaber. Like,
Was that a special TIE fighter? Because I kind of just assume that's how they land, right?
so I don't know, because like previously, whenever we've seen a landed TIE fighter, it just uses its wings as its like just still straight up and down, like. So I don't know, but in the trailer for season 2, we see more of them taking off from that formation, like kind of lifting and the wings snapping into place. So
Because I had kind of because I'm thinking it would be really freaking hard to get into one because it looks like the hatch is on the top.
yeah, no. Previously, whenever we've seen them, like you need a special like ladder to get
Trampoline.
in. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
it is much more efficient this way, though still very vulnerable to pocket bombs.
Mandalorians.
Yes, Mandalorians with jetpacks.
Yes.
Well, none of us really is safe
No.
from that menace.
No.
Baby Yoda's okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, we all, the average American eats 8 Mandalorians with jetpacks every year in their sleep.
What the fuck, Chris? I have 2 more notes. 2 more notes because they're more minor. A, the music kicks all the ass.
Oh, the music's fantastic.
I love it. Like I dance around the house whenever the show's on. So
Yeah, that theme too is just so good.
It is.
I
really
thought Gideon's theme kind of stood out as being, I don't know if they deliberately made it different. It had a more of an electronic sound to it. Like there was like electronic snare sounds.
I didn't
in
think
it.
of that, but you're right. Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they did that.
My God, is he an android?
Maybe. Well, I don't know. Like everything else was kind
don't
of
tell Mando.
was one style, and then I felt like
Yeah.
his theme specifically stood out as being something different.
What's nice too is like is finally allowing Star Wars music to evolve. Because like, for years obviously there were the movies and stuff, and it was always John Williams, who frankly has phoned in the last 3. Like, say what you will about the prequel trilogy, he was still trying on his side. The sequel trilogy, yeah, no.
Yeah, doesn't suffer for the music.
No.
That's for sure.
And, a lot of the TV shows and other things that the people done, they've, generally speaking, been trying to ape Williams' style. And
Which
with
is really
this...
just stealing from other better composers a lot of the time
Yeah.
anyway.
Whereas this, I can't think of his name. Like, they clearly just said, do what you want. And he did, and it's great.
Do space western
Yeah,
Or
with
do
a little
not.
bit of New Zealand in there.
tiny bit. Just skosh.
Yeah, I did read. So season 2, as you know, when this goes up, will be airing tomorrow.
Yep.
Or starting to air tomorrow. It sounds like it wasn't really affected filming-wise by all of the COVID.
Good.
They wrapped their filming on March 8th, which was before everything went to shit.
Like literally just before.
Yeah.
But the orchestra obviously hadn't been filmed in yet. So the orchestra was affected by all of the social distancing by having to, I guess they had to record their parts remotely or in small groups. So I'm sure I won't notice a fucking thing, but it's something to keep an ear for to see, how well did they patch it all together.
Like mix it, yeah.
I know that a few weeks ago, last month, they released the trailer for the new version of Dune. And
Which has been postponed again, right?
Yes. A few weeks later, they said, fuck it. It has this choral cover of Eclipse by Pink Floyd. And I guess they recorded it all completely separately.
Oh, wow.
Like, basically, the whole choir and the conductor were just on a giant Zoom call.
Damn.
And that's how they did it.
So, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
They must have had better tech for syncing up, though. Can you imagine, like, the delay?
I'm sure they're also using better equipment than Audacity.
I watched with a couple of friends. They were calling it Antigone at Ferguson. And it first came about after, the murder of, I want to say George Floyd, and that's not him. He wasn't in Ferguson.
Oh, Ferguson was, It's sad how many of these there are that we get confused.
Was it Michael Garner in Ferguson?
That sounds right. Michael Brown, maybe. No? Yeah, Michael Brown.
Anyway, yeah, so they initially put this together, Antigone and Ferguson, with after the death, the shooting death by cop, right, of Michael Brown. And they actually had a lot of music in it as well, where it was performed live by singers and musicians. So I've actually seen that in person live, through Zoom, basically. But it was actually pretty amazing. What a great job they did of it. So
Cool.
Curious how they handled the latency issue, but yeah, it's definitely something that's being done, which is great.
The other final thing I wanted to bring up is I am a big fan of all the little art posters in the end credits.
Oh yeah, like the concept art and stuff.
Yeah, like it's all like it's really nice to watch, and it gives you a reason to watch the end credits because normally we just hit next and go to the next episode.
Oh, I still do that.
Yeah. I hope more shows do shit like that because I feel like it's an older practice that you would see in I think like old TOS would have stills at the end during the credits.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting with this though is being concept art too. You can sometimes see like what didn't quite come to be. Like again, The Prisoner. You can see early versions of the guard droids, and they're much beefier originally. Like, they don't really have necks. The heads are just kind of directly part of the body, and I think the final design they went with looks a lot nicer. Early, like, drawing. You can also kind of tell how old a drawing is, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, I think that's supposed to be Cara Dune, but the face isn't quite right. And then there's a drawing, it's like, okay, this is clearly after they actually cast her, because now it looks like her. Things like that.
Yeah. Plus, you get to see just nice little cute drawings of Baby Yoda, which
that too.
I will buy myself.
Do the magic hand thing, baby.
And then he waves,
that was a great scene.
and I lose my shit. Yes.
I love that was his. I'm out of ideas. Your idea was to say, "Do the magic hand thing, baby."
That's your plan.
Carl Weathers.
That was great, though. That like just.
What's everybody's top 5 Baby Yoda moments?
All of them.
They're
drinking
all great.
tea, drinking his broth, eating a frog.
Yep.
Playing with all the toys in the ship.
Pushing the button
trying to
push.
trying to press the button repeatedly.
Crashing the ship.
Yep.
The little wavy smiley face I love, and I love the end when he grabs onto Mando's leg and looks at him like, Dad. That's one of my faves.
You know something though that irritates me about Star Wars.
My gears. What?
That they did this in the original trilogy. They did it, but it makes more sense there because that was created without any of the other backstory or lore. They do it in Star Wars 7, Phantom Gourmet. Nope, the Force
Gourmet Awakens.
And they did it here. And what it is they pretend like nobody knows what the fuck a Jedi is.
Mm.
And
it's like,
and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I've heard of this before. There were like these wizards in ancient times, 20 years ago, that had, that could do this stuff. They were called Jedi.
What's funny is I think because of that, I didn't realize how like contemporary this was to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like ancient history. It's literally everybody that's there in their lifetime, all the adults anyway, there would have been Jedi.
Yeah, because Mando was around during the Clone Wars. That's when the battle droids were in operation.
Yeah, and Carl Weathers is clearly older, so he should certainly know what a Jedi is.
Well, and friggin' Queel is like, 3 of your human lifetimes. It's like, so you were really around for the Jedi.
Well, not to mention he was like enslaved by the Empire, so he probably even heard about them.
So people that are like, it's not like the Force and Jedi were some kind of a secret.
I bet you there's a lot of rumor though. Like I'm sure it gets out of hand where people don't know what's real and what's not. Though.
Yeah,
and we call those people Trump supporters.
I don't know. I just feel like if I didn't buy it in The Force Awakens that nobody had heard of a Jedi or the Force,
and you buy it less now.
But I buy it less only 5 years after Return of the Jedi. They literally just returned.
So
5 years ago.
So the thing is, we are mostly dealing with the Outer Rim, where the New Republic the Republic never really had a foothold, and a Jedi would have been a rare, if ever seen, sort of person.
Even little Annie Skywalker knew what a Jedi was and knew that they had a laser sword.
Well, yeah, but that was because it was like before he murdered them all.
Oh, true.
Yeah, like they've kind of established things that like kind of the further you get from the core, the more sort of legendary the Jedi were. So it's easier to believe like that someone way out in the middle of fucking nowhere, like 35, 45 years after they were mostly wiped out, hasn't really heard of them. But yeah, Carl Weathers still probably should have had an idea unless he spent his whole life on the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
He might have.
I mean, it's only like 25 years, right? Or maybe 30 years at most.
I forget exactly what the timeline is.
Because you got to figure
at some point.
So Luke Skywalker is born
at the end of the Clone Wars.
The end of the Clone Wars.
And he's supposed to be, I think,
like
18.
25. Oh, he's only supposed to be 18?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in New Hope. Yeah, he and Leia.
Yeah, so it's like...
Yeah, like he's actually... Mark Hamill was 25, but...
Yeah. And then the period from that, from the first Star Wars to Return of the Jedi is probably like 5 years.
Yeah, I think maybe it was supposed to be real time, but I'm not positive.
I always assumed that The Empire Strikes Back took place like months at most after.
Yeah, that's true.
The first one.
But I think Jedi is supposed to take place a few years after Empire.
Oh man, so Han was in that.
He was in that for a bit. Yeah,
really?
Rock for
that
a
I
long
didn't
time.
gather.
Yeah, no, he was in that for a while.
Yeah, at some point we will cover all the rest of the Star Wars and force Caitlin to watch Episode 2.
I won't do it.
All right, you can skip that
No!
day. We'll have Rossi on.
No.
You gotta watch it. I've had to watch it
multiple times.
I don't wanna.
It's
but
better than...
You'll understand why Dexter Jettster is such an important, pivotal character.
That's right. You need to see Dexter Jettster.
No, I don't. I could just watch that. You showed me the clip, didn't you?
Nah, there's more to see.
Listen, I don't...
You need to understand how much he hates sand.
I've seen that too. I like the novelty of having not seen it. Just like I like the novelty of having not seen Inception. Just saying.
Well, it'll
If you're
ruin the
telling me
podcast,
I have to watch
Caitlin.
the stupid thing.
Speaking of watching the stupid thing, what are you guys looking forward to or predictions you have for season 2?
It's Darth Maul.
Yes,
Right,
obviously.
That's
So
right.
we're
Darth
clearly
Maul.
getting some Boba Fett.
Well, that's already established. That's already been leaked.
No,
You
I know.
What I
That's
would
what-
really like is if they showed us more Baby Yoda.
I doubt we'll get that, Caitlin.
Fuck.
I know there's been rumors floating around that Ahsoka Tano is going to show up.
Who?
Who?
She is a character that was established in Clone Wars and ended up appearing in Rebels.
Yeah, it's already on the list on Wikipedia. She's going to be played by Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. Yeah, like she's definitely...
I remember when she was cast and everybody was mad because she had treated... I think she and her mother were, like, abusive to a trans...
housekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never really been
Fuck
addressed.
you, Rosario, you bitch. I hope your character gets killed off fast.
But yeah, she was like an annoying kid sidekick at the start of Clone Wars. But then they started writing her better. And I know, like, by the end, I guess she... Basically, just by watching the war and how the Jedi and the Republic deal with it and sort of the hypocrisy, she ends up disillusioned with the Jedi and leaving the Order before the end of the series, so she conveniently isn't there when Order 66 happens. And then I guess she reappeared in Rebels, which left her final sort of fate vague enough that she could potentially reappear.
In The Mandalorian.
Yeah, so if we see her, we may be seeing more Jedi sooner than later.
My prediction is going to be that we, if not this season, then certainly the following season, they're going to have to start showing us the formation of the First Order. That's going to somehow play into it.
Yeah.
And maybe Gideon's boss is Snoke's.
Ugh.
Or at least the start of the rebranding.
Well, so the very final moment of the show, we see him break out of his crashed ship with a lightsaber. So is he a Jedi? Does he have Force powers?
I asked
the
same thing.
We'll find out in this season because I don't want to listen to Chris talk about cartoons for 5 hours.
I can actually cut it down really easily and take less than 10 cartoons if that helps.
It doesn't. I'd rather have a show that can stand alone in explaining what a thing is.
Well, all I was going to say was you don't need to have the Force to wield the lightsaber, it just helps. So he is not necessarily a Jedi because he has it.
Yeah, but I feel like the people that generally choose to use a lightsaber are going to be the Jedi.
So the thing is, that's a Mandalorian artifact he has, and we know he stole a bunch of stuff from them.
What do you mean it's a Mandalorian? The lightsaber is?
Yeah, without getting into a bunch of cartoons, it's a Mandalorian lightsaber.
Oh, okay, so it's not a Jedi lightsaber.
The lightsaber of the only Mandalorian to ever be a Jedi, right?
Or one of the only known ones, yeah.
Chris has cut all this. Great.
You're the one that asked us about it, jeez.
Asked what about what?
You asked us for predictions. That's what led to this conversation.
Well, it wasn't really a prediction, it's just probably just a fact.
Here's what I hope doesn't happen. I hope we don't find out the fucking Mandalorian is Force sensitive. I don't need him to be a Jedi. No, don't, please. Christ.
Well, and they wouldn't do that, right? Because...
Who knows?
You can't be... I feel like it would be hard to reconcile both creeds.
Well, that could be a point of dramatic tension, then. What does he do?
Stop. Just stop now.
I hope the Mandalorian...
Will we see additional Mandalorians? Will he hook up with his old buddies?
Because we know Boba Fett's in the series.
Yeah, so. Boba Fett. But that's a question, right? So
how many
because
survive?
Boba Fett sort of inherited the armor just from his dad, is he actually a practitioner of the Mandalorian religion?
That's the thing. He may not have been properly raised by them.
Yeah, he might just be wearing the costume and not be an actual Mandalorian.
He's appropriating that culture.
Here's my prediction, or here's my hope for season 2. Okay. Is Mandalorian goes back to Quill's farm and starts raising more blurrgs to make up for the blurrgs he got killed, and just lives happily with the blurrgs for the rest of the series. And that's
is sweet, but would be boring as fuck.
I'd watch it and I'd be so happy.
Blurrgs are kind of like land piranhas, aren't they?
Are like land piranhas?
They look like piranhas with feet.
I love them. See, I think the reaction Chris stupidly has to the porgs, I have to the blurrgs.
Blurrgs are also cute.
Ooh,
they have little tiny T-Rex arms. They're great.
What do y'all think? I had a problem. I got a big problem. Is it just me, or is Beskar Steel like changeling material in the sense that it can just increase its volume at will.
Yeah, that was a little
because
weird.
those little bricks, one little brick turned into his whole shoulder pad.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
then those other bricks turned into all of his other armor. It just seems to me like there's some additional mass beam, or maybe that's a thing. Maybe it doesn't get forged like steel. Maybe it like is a foam. Maybe it like foams up and gets less dense.
It's like nibbler poop. It's 1 pound of it weighs up to 10,000 pounds.
It could be she's just plating something else in Beskar.
It could just be like a coating on the existing.
And Beskar's strong enough that just a plating of it makes something super solid.
Or
That's
some
true,
of it is
they
shunted to
implied that like
subspace.
these little bricks was a shitload, and I'm like, really?
And some was still set aside for foundlings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the first one, and that was just his...
She did also mention she was just making him a cuirass, so it could be the rest of the silver armor is new armor, but not Beskar, just another silvery material.
No, because when he got damaged, I thought he
big...
mentioned it was Beskar.
Yeah, it gets brought up a lot that it is Beskar.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
Because I think it's a big deal because it sounds like there isn't a lot of it out there.
Yeah, and it was originally the proprietary creation of the Mandalorians.
Mm. I mean, Carl Weathers still has a few bricks of it, presumably. So
yeah.
if he needs extra,
didn't use the money from it to buy a new coat, though. I realized.
Mm.
I didn't notice till the rewatch that in the last 2 episodes he's still got the burn mark from where he got shot.
Oh, word.
It's like, you didn't buy a new jacket? It's been
when you find a jacket that's comfy, you wear the fuck out of that jacket.
I suppose so.
That's true.
Plus, I guess for a guy in his job, that's like bragging rights,
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, got shot, but my lucky Beskar. I'm a lucky guy. Here's a puck. And some Mon Calamari rubber money.
Here's a puck. Quack. Quack. Quack.
Pucks fly together.
Full circle.
Jerk.
Cool. Anything else about the Mando?
I hope they don't fuck it up in season 2.
Yep.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see.
Also, my cat is snoring.
Oh, good
That's
cat.
funny. Kitty boy.
Well, if you liked that and you want to hear more, that's too bad this isn't a Star Wars podcast. That said, we will be back to our regularly scheduled Deep Space Nine reviewing next week. We'll be watching Body Parts, and I already forgot the other episode, Ames.
Broken Link, because it's the season 4 finale. 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be watching the last 2 seasons. The last 2 episodes of season 4, Body Parts and Broken Link. So you can check that out, hear what we think about those last 2 episodes, as well as hear our top and bottom 3 episodes for the season.
Oh, I have to figure out what they're going to be. Shit.
Yeah, you better work on that.
I already know what they're
Whoa.
going to
What?
be. Yeah. But I know all of your top and bottom 3s.
What? You want to make some predictions right now?
No, he doesn't.
But yeah, if you want to hear, well, actually, we've done some Star Wars before. You can check out our other past 10 forwards, or if either you like both, like we do. Well, sort of. I mean, some of us. I don't know. Whatever. If you like Star Wars and Star Trek, you've come to the right place. We've got 195-ish episodes or something at this point of just straight up Star Trek. And yeah, you can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on Spotify. I guess I don't think Google Play anymore because Google Play is gone. And I don't know if podcasts are on YouTube Music, so skip it. Stitcher. And Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
As usual, I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And I have spoken.
This is the way.
This is the way.